I'm Ollie Pearce, and I'm basically talking today on games for pains and how to use games as an approach to help clients with pain and injury. I hate that picture, by the way. I look like I'm freeing a dove. So on this talk, we're going to go through how pain is a feeling and how feelings work and what feelings are. Then we're going to look at how to build games and what type of games you can use and what you can use within your games to change the constraints of that game. Then we might do some games together if you want to. And you all look like you want to. Then we're going to look into referrals and how in the fitness industry we really need to stay in our lane sometimes. I'm not saying that I've always stayed in my lane, but I'm saying now that it's a useful thing to do for the future. Then we're going to look at researching the client's problem, which is usually something out of what a personal trainer would usually think they need to do. And at the moment, people are going towards TikTok and Instagram and not going towards actual science or a body of evidence. So we're going to talk about that. How you're going to use a process to work with your clients by using games and how I apply that to my clients. And training, like using games in the real world every session with your client. How do you progress and how do you create that experience to get that client better at what they want to be able to do? So I'd like you all to please stand up because, you had that lull, haven't we, at lunch? So all stand up, one thing I'd really like to do is I'd like you to all get ready because I find this is really good for like a cohesive environment for people to get to be comfortable around the person they're next to. So what we're going to do, you're going to get ready because you're all going to sing, right? So I'm going to start from across here. We're going to start with that lady on the left. She's going to sing a line, then you'll sing a line, sir, and then we're going to work all the way along. Then we're going to go all the way around to the back, and I'm sure you all love a good song. So we're just going to sing. We get ready to sing. Are you ready to sing? Yeah, you're ready to sing. Are you ready to sing? Yeah? All right, we're getting ready. You've probably got a good voice, I can see it. Right, here we go. Let's get ready to sing. Oh, it's Rick. You've been Rick-rolled. We weren't going to sing. I was winding you up. That would have been horrible, wouldn't it? There we go. Oh no, he's back again. He's been Rick-rolled again. But that's good old Rick. But I imagine that you started to think you were like, oh my God, have I actually got to sing? You look like you wanted to leg it. You look like you really were up for it. Yeah, no, you weren't. No. But ultimately, in that moment, everyone would have had a feeling. Even if they were along here, they're like, how long is this going to go on for? I might be next. But everyone had a feeling. It's like, oh my God, am I actually going to have to do this? Because this is going to be awful. And ultimately, that's a trigger. So you have a trigger that makes you go, I'm actually going to have to sing. Or, oh, brilliant, I love this song. I can't wait to sing it. I just sang the chorus, don't worry. But that initially means that you have to have this feeling that, what does that mean? So your brain then has to go, I should run. That guy's an idiot. I do not want to sing. I didn't come here to sing in public, so I'm going to run. Or you go, that guy's great. He's got a great sense of musical taste. We're just gonna go with it. Love Rick Astley. And then you have an emotion. So that makes you go, right, what should I do? Am I happy about this? Am I worried about this? Is this absolute terror? And every time you do anything with a client, ultimately those things that you do are triggers. So if you have a client who's got a knee injury and they haven't squatted for a long time and you say the word squat, that could have the same output. That could have exactly the same thing where they go, oh my God, I can't do this. So you've got to understand that from that perspective. And pain. Pain is something that we will all work with if we work with clients. If you own a gym, you're going to have people who join who have come from physiotherapy or whatever, and they might experience pain. And pain is a very complicated thing, but ultimately it is a feeling, a whole feeling of the body. So that person's experiences shapes their pain. You can all sit down, by the way. Where are you getting pain? Oh, my glutes. They've been holding me up for ages. So pain is a feeling, and ultimately something can trigger that feeling. So it could be a stimulus, like a sport, a food, singing in public when you don't sing in public very often. It could be an environment. It could be a slippery floor or seeing it snowing outside. that can elicit some kind of fleeting emotion or fleeting feeling that person has. We don't really know how you define that, but we know that there's like some kind of shock or some kind of feeling of the body. And that could be pupil dilation, it could be muscle tension, hairs stand up on the back of your neck, it could be that you're sweating, it could be anything, hormone changes. Those things then change, and then we have to understand what that situation was. And then that comes to cognition. And those two things, like the fleeting emotion and cognition, will constantly be happening at a ridiculous speed that you can't really comprehend, but that's basically how it works. That's how we know how it works. So the brain might go, oh, this situation's dodgy, like we might have to do something here, or it'll be something that's a quick response from the spine, where it's something you've always done, it's an innate thing and you can just do it. But ultimately, if it's an overload of threshold that this situation is bad, right, that's going to go to the brain brain's going to go, crap, we need to do something here, which then gives you an emotion. And that emotion could be anything. I've put fear in there, but it could be anything. And that either leads to an opportunity where the person goes, this is great, I'm going to do this, like this is going to be really good, like singing to me. You'd have loved that. But that then changes behaviour. So then that opportunity is a new behaviour change. Then we have the other side, the action of danger. So when danger happens, you freeze, you fight or flight. As you can see, I've been really inventive for my flight. That is a hot air balloon on the back of a person crouching down. And that is a naked person with a belt on, I think, kicking. But ultimately, those things happen. You freeze, fight and flight. So you either flight away from the thing or you fight it. And when we work with clients with pain, that often is something we have to deal with. How can we change the environment? How can we change things so that person can get over the thing that they're worried about, the squat or the word the squat, all those kind of things. And in the role of chronic pain, because chronic pain is ultimately a after 3 months kind of situation, you have two sort of categories of pain. You have acute, which is there was an incident and that lasted for 3 months. And then that was fixed by somebody or they had medication to fix that problem. But with chronic pain, it's a more complex thing to deal with and it's a more complicated situation for the client. And we really, as trainers, even though there is a part of our industry where people might say they fix people, they're actually working on these two areas without knowing that. So, because I did it for years. I literally was like going, oh, these things that I use with all my clients are brilliant. But ultimately it was what I said to them, how I made them feel, how many times they saw me, what they told me. I got feedback from the client all the time. Ultimately, that's them getting better by themselves. I'm just a tool that's helping, an actual tool to help them. But there's two places where you can work with the client and change the client. And that is the sensitivity to the incident means they have a pain response. So if you can change what that sensitivity is, then the likelihood of them getting a pain response might get lower and be handled better. Then we've got the pain response creating an increased sensitivity. So that might be every time I bend my knee, it hurts. So every time the person thinks about bending their knee, it hurts. So they stop bending their knee. So now they walk with a limp. It might be showing the person that they can bend their knee without making that a main thing in the workout. So then ultimately in that little gap between increased sensitivity and nervous system learning, you've now got somewhere else where you can change things by your exercise choices and selection, where you train the client, how long you train them for, what you call it, all of these triggers. And that is where games come in. So games is a really good way of letting somebody shift their focus into an environment where they don't have to think about the knee or they don't have to think about the muscle, or the things that the physio said to them are changed now because they've told you, you've spoke to the physio, and now you're working with that client in a safe environment. And how to build a game. I mean, a game can be competitive, might not be competitive, depending on who the client is. When you train ex-sports people, they love it. And if you've got to do like a forfeit, they love it even more. If you're like, if you get that ball in that box, then I'll do 5 press-ups, they love that. But using game is a really good way of like creating a great experience where a client might have the space to be bad at something but not worry about it, which is cool. So we've got different games. We've got target games, which might be you've got to strike something, kick something, knock something over. hit something, whatever it is. You might go, oh, you've got to land on that. Then you've got obstacle. An obstacle game might be get over this, get around this. You see a lot of these in sports. You could even train kids one way and then train your client after, the same way as you train the kids, but change what you said, right? And that's a really good way of doing it. Then we've got reaction. Reaction might be, I want you to do this and then do that. So it might be jump over that and run over there, or step over this and then kick that ball to me. So you've got that kind of game. And then you've got quantity, which is something we do because we do reps and sets. But it might be, my granddad actually used to play a quantity game with me when I was a kid. He's like, do you want to play cards? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to play cards. He's like, there you go, 52 card pickup. Pick them up, 52 cards. So I'm like crouched down, picking them up. But it's a similar principle. You might have 8 cones on the floor. Your client's got to keep their feet still. They've got to knock over the cones. And every time they knock over the cone, they go, God, my left glute's really hurting. God, my left glute's really burning. I'm like, is it? Oh, that's weird. You can start changing the constraints of those games. And that obviously means that you can change the time. So you could do, oh, we're going to do that for 9 minutes. Or you're going to stand up for 5 minutes, like I got you to. And then you've got like the quantities, like the reps and sets. You could even merge these games together. You go, you've got to jump over this many obstacles, get that cone, jump over these, bring it back. And they go, do you know what? Didn't really feel my knee. I'm like, oh, that's good. So you have this like little distraction or this little shift of focus towards the task and not towards how the body's feeling or the biomechanics or the name of the exercise, which ultimately is a great way to work. So I think it's time for you to meet somebody. This is Chuck. He's annoyed actually, aren't you, Chuck? Chuck's annoyed because I called this slide Throw the Chicken, but he said, why don't you call it Chuck the Chicken? Because it makes so much more sense if he's called Chuck. So what I'd like is, I'd like a volunteer to come up with their chair. I won't move one of them because that could be bad. Does anyone want to just come and be a volunteer? Oh, go on then. If you bring your chair out here, we've just got to make sure we don't hit anyone with a chicken. Okay, there we go. Right, so what I'd like you to do is if you sit facing that door there, I'll spin it round, yeah, there you go. I'll do the labour for you because I'm now going to do some running, aren't I? Right, so, I'm going to put this box somewhere. Right, so you can't look. All right, and meet Chuck. Hello. There you go. Right, so the audience are going to be your coaches now. So you're going to throw that and you're going to try and get it in the box, but you don't know where it is. Right, so audience, what you've got to do is either say further or nearer, left or right. So, and I'm going to fetch that. So now I've created a game where I've got to do cardio to fetch a chicken and bring it back to somebody. Right, are you ready? Right, here we go. So go for a throw. You can use whatever, you could kick it if you're that flexible. Right, here we go. Right, go for a throw. And then they'll tell you after. Go on, go for it. Yeah, throw it, sling it. Oh! Oh, sorry, sir. That was a good shot though. I like that guy. So, right, so where does she need to go? Can you tell her? Less. You can squeeze him if you want. Yeah. Oh, you can all help, you know. You can just shout. Right, here we go. Oh, look at that. Sorry. Can you pass me the chicken, please? Thank you. Thanks. Right, keep going. You were really far away, so you need nearer. Oh, that's a little bit better. God, look, I'm going out now. I'm back. Yeah, think like a really small one. But come on, audience, you can help. Oh, I tell you what, you nearly took a seat then. Right, how long we got left? Right, keep going. Oh! God, I'll give you one more. Give you one more. Yeah, more where we're going right slightly. Do you want that right? Yeah. Oh, I think that caught a bit of thermals. That. I'll let you have a little glance over your shoulder this time. See, I'm dealing with the constraints of this game now. I've not had to run that far really. I think I've done about 50 metres. You do have a little glance? Do you want to have a little glance over your shoulder? You have. Oh, and it's hard, isn't it? Because chickens can't fly, but apparently now they can. Well, thank you very much. We'll do it later. You can do it then. Thank you very much for your help. What's your name, sorry? Elima. Nice to meet you. All right, so that, I don't know if you noticed, there was, through the different velocities that chicken flew, we got loads of different changes in biomechanics. And then you think how many different ways you could change that. Where you could go, you're going to stand up, you're going to step to the side, and then you're going to be right anyway, so you won't need to move your line of force. Oh, hello. So obviously you start to see these changes. So as the arm's going over, you're seeing flexion, abduction, and external rotation at the shoulder. If that's a client with a shoulder injury at a certain point, that it might be so relevant to use a chicken and go, can you throw this chicken into a box? Or you could go really serious and go like, we're going to play basketball today. Like, but that might be a great place to start with somebody who's coming back to a sport where they might use a ball, or something where they do games overhead. It might be like, can you hang the chicken on the washing line? It could be anything. Right, we are going to play another game. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Ollie, there's cheese in that ham wrap. There is, but it's still got ham in it. So it's still an ham wrap, right? So that's as many reps as possible. And I can't ever think about it without thinking it as a ham wrap. So we're going to play a game, all of us. Right, so, madam, if I give you that. So that's your blue balls. I'm an Ipswich Town fan. That's what it is. Right, so in this game, I mean, this side's going to be stitched up, unless there's like a middleman who can step in. But you're going to start, you're going to go from there, it's going to go round in a snake and come back to there, and then it's going to come back round again. And if you could count how many times it comes back to you after it's left you, that'd be great. And then you're going to do the same. It's going to snake all the way around there. It's going to go back round again. And there's no rules to it because I haven't made any. But you're going to count as well, right? And we're going to do that, and we're going to do that for 1 minute. Are you ready? And go. Oh, look at this. Oh, the transition in the middle there. I mean, it's either good to have a gap or good to have more people. I don't know. But you're starting to think now, we've been stitched up. Like, we've got so many people this side, like we've been stitched up. I hope you're counting them. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is brilliant. I love my job. What did you do today, Ollie? I got a load of random people to pass a ball. Keep going. Oh, we got 30 seconds. Keep going. Are you getting worn out yet? No one's dropped it, which I'm glad. I'm actually annoyed about, to be honest. Because then you'd have to do a lunge or something to pick it up. Keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, right, stop. Right, don't tell me anything yet. I need to add suspense. Don't tell me yet. How many did you get? 5. Wow, that's very good. Round of applause. 5. Yeah, very good. Don't tell me yet. How many did you get? 3.5. Oh, there we go. The left team win. You have won a speedboat and a holiday to Bradford. Be nice, wasn't it? You can't use your speedboat. You can put it on a trailer. Right, so you can see there how many things you could do, right? If I said you're going to change that game now, what are you going to do? You might go, you're going to reach over a person, or one's going to stand up every time they pass it. You've got to do a squat every time you get the ball. Like, you could do anything. Can anyone think of anything you could do? Oh, that'd be good. Bit of cardio. Yeah, get to the end, run back to the start. That's like that old school like football drill where you're all in a line and you just peel off, don't you? Yeah, so you can change it. You can adapt it, and you can change that based on the biomechanics you see and the energy system you want to work in, how much you want to have a laugh. Like, that's how I measure most of my games. So yeah, you can change loads of things in that. The constraints of that game now opened up. That obviously changes what your client feels like, what they think, like they think you're a moron or not. But this ultimately brings it back into the 3 R's, which is rapport. Like, to have rapport with the client is massively important. And this gives you a way to have rapport, because you win or lose, you're rubbish at it or it's funny, you're good at it and it's still funny. But sometimes in that situation, you might not be able to work with a client. So a lot of times I have people go, I've got a friend who's had this, I've got a friend who's got that. I've had students come to me and go, can I work with this person? I'm like, you should probably speak to their doctor. And you might have to say no to a client, which is rapport, because if you do that, later on when they come back after seeing the physio or their doctor or having an operation, they'll be glad that you didn't try to fix them. And they'll be like, oh, this is good. I'm working in like sections. I've been fixed. I've got to deal with these things, which might be chronic pain, or it might be discomfort or whatever, and it might be fear and worry and apprehension to do the things they want to be able to do again. And then you've got to use like those referrals as like your contacts then. So when you refer out to a physio, it's a really healthy thing, not only for your client, but for you as well, to have contact with physios, occupational therapists or whatever. And then after you've got like the rapport and referrals, it comes to research, which is not really something us as trainers would really think about, but we do go, oh, I'm going to do my research. And I can't really talk about it that much now, because in the course we go into greater depth. But we're not talking about TikToks and videos and things like that and YouTube. We're talking about starting off at the NHS, where they have all the research on any condition or injury that you need to look at, and then branching out to having the confidence to look at PubMed and Google Scholars and Microsoft Academic and actually get a body of evidence to understand the decisions you make and the programs and game design that you use with your clients. This is, oh, bloody hell. Oh, bloody, I've been rickrolled myself. It shocks me every time. Oh, there we go. So I was going to say, this is my client Karen and her team. And Karen had a brain hemorrhage in 2014, a grade 5 brain hemorrhage. She was told that no one could help her. The neurophysios said they couldn't work with her. She'd seen osteopaths, she'd seen everyone. The family really wanted her to like be able to do normal things again. And then I got a phone call and her husband was like, nah, a personal trainer can't help my wife. She's seen everyone, but no one had tried to build rapport with her. And no one had spoken to all the professionals that said they couldn't help her. But I'd like you to just take a minute just to watch this video, right? She doesn't swear in it. Money's always a good bribe. Put them on the floor. Dog. So that's Karen. She's awesome, isn't she? And I worked with Karen and her physios, her family, her occupational therapist, her Headway charity person that came out. She's lovely. We talked about all the like neurological things that have changed her and why she doesn't respond to certain things. And I ultimately asked her what her goal was and what she wanted in life. And she said to me, one day, I want to be able to go on holiday with my family again, get on a plane, not wet myself, go to a garden centre and have a coffee, me pay for it, get in a car again in the front of the car. And if you go to my Instagram, you'll see a more recent video of that, which is Turn the Corner HP. That's my handle. And you'll see that she's now walking. She's now learning to walk on like a rollator. All these things are happening. It's amazing, but it all stems off games. I played dexterity games with her. I played games where she had to lean forwards because she was scared of leaning forwards. All of these things came from stacking things, knocking over things, reacting to stuff, throwing things. It all came to that, to where she now then had the confidence to put weight into her feet so she could stand up. And underpinning all of that, everything I've done with Karen, everything on this talk, the research behind it is something called dynamic systems theory. And in dynamic systems theory, you're looking at some constraints that mean that the client might need to do a certain skill or get better at a certain skill. So when that happens, your body does this thing called coupling. And when these things couple, which is like coordination, it could be vestibular system and balance, it could be like management of heart rate and all of these feelings. When all of that comes together and you practice and you keep doing this task and have the space to be bad at it or to get better at it or improve at it, that task becomes easier, and ultimately that person gets back to being able to perform again to the level they want to be able to perform, whether that's like sitting up and standing, learning to walk again. And ultimately that's what happened with Karen. I had to try and find ways to make her feel safe, make her feel like she can fail at stuff and not feel bad about it, be bad at things and learn from it, which also comes from error learning, which is a broadly like talked about thing in neuroscience, that it gives them the space that's specific to them rather than just a system that someone chucks at you all the time. It's individual and specific to basically help that person overcome the hurdles in their life, whether that's pain, injuries, conditions, or management of conditions, to basically get back to doing what they love to do again. And that's everything, pretty much. So thanks very much for coming to my talk. I do have an injury course starting. Thank you. I do have an injury course starting on the 12th of September. If you're keen to talk to me about that, then come and find me after this. But thank you very much. Cheers, guys.